Well, boy, I hope that worked. That was a real up and down. You're not on. You're on. Here it is. All right. So I think this music's still a little loud here. I don't think there's anything I can do about that. I'm not sure. I'm always in a panic when technical difficulties here. Anytime anything goes live here, I'm not sure how anybody does this without any assistance, but we have a few things that I wanted to update on. Of course, we're a little behind on an episode. I suppose we'll just have to assume the chat anyway. Most people just watch this anyway. I thought I'd get a nice game of chess in. I have a beer here. It'd be relaxing, and there are a few things that I wanted to talk about. We have this music is just distracting me. I'm not sure. You're just in my ear here. Can I turn it down anymore? It's distracting me. It's probably distracting anybody listening to the show. First thing, a little too bad. Unfortunately, we're having some scheduling difficulties with the newest guest that we want to get on the show, a very funny local comedian, but that has been pushed back a week, so I'm going to be recording with him later this week, I believe, and that's a little too bad that it wasn't earlier, but that is what it is, so I wanted to mention that. We also have a fun incident here that I wanted to talk about briefly. I don't think it's even going to make it to the show because, of course, he seems to be making more personal comments. It seems that this gentleman, we're going to call him Win by Tubi, he hasn't even watched the show, apparently. Just a fun rivalry, though, that apparently he wanted to address there. And the reason why I say he hasn't even watched the show, and we'll just look at his comments. He actually addressed me directly today. And Win by 2. I'd love to go on your show and join for a segment. That would be a great time. I hope the offer's still open there. Of course, we'll figure out the microphone situation. We have a lot to talk about here. Why don't I mute this music briefly, and we'll just start. I'd love to play a game of chess here and just relax for a little bit. But, of course, we did want to address this on stream. I think there was a third thing. I really should have written something down here. But we'll just address his comments directly. I wanted to, since he did make new comments today, apparently, and he was speaking directly to the camera to me. You know, I sent him a nice message. I thought that he would just message me back. But apparently he did not want to do that, and I think he kind of misunderstood the message. One of the biggest concerns is that maybe English might not be his first language, and that's just something we'll have to work out with this new growing relationship that we're developing there. But let's go ahead. So, as you can see, we have a tab up there that says St. Patrick's Day. And that's going to be who we're talking about today. I'm not sure, should we drink into the microphone just to tease him? Let's take a quick moment here, take a sip, and then we're going to pull up his clip and just respond to this person who had something to say to me today. And that was interesting. It's always nice. You know, somebody sent me this clip. I said, oh, great. Somebody else to talk to. Just somebody who refuses to message me back, apparently. We're going back and forth, but he is responding to the message publicly. Happy to take it to that direction there. So just give me a few moments. Oh, right. Maybe we wanted to talk a little about that reality show there. Thanks so much, brother, for checking out David Collins' 30-minute half-hour reality show. Oh, one thing of note here, this person that I am currently in a game of chess with, we have 24 hours to make a move. We just started a new game. One of my favorite pranksters on the internet, a great podcaster, and I'm happy to have him as somebody that I play chess with there. Before we jump into a game of chess, first thing we want to address here, though, is somebody that's reached out and well, has not reached out. I guess I already kind of set this up. Why don't we just go ahead and take a little listen? Let's see, make sure the audio is okay.
I'm not really quite interested. Let's go to this Blind Mike character. So we covered Blind Mike, and what was his name?
He did. He covered
guy's
Blind
name?
Mike
Vince?
Geary, and he covered. I'm not really sure the order of this. I just ended up being caught in the crossfire there. I spent some time on the Hack Ride Studios channel doing one of the toilet shows there, and it was a fine time. We had a good amount of fun. But we did at one point in the show have to address some comments that this person had made about Blind Mike, and I only had comments to say about his studio generally. I did actually think at the time that he was a black man, so that was an interesting discovery over the course of this week here. But well, let's go ahead and he's now responding to that coverage, I believe. But he did have some words to say to me.
Vince Jaworski. David fucking Collins is his name.
Right.
David Collins. I saw this animation hack-ride character in David Collins covering Yours Truly Win by 2 last week.
So right away, I'm not even sure, I suppose I was, but I only feel caught in the crossfire here. I wouldn't say that I was necessarily covering you. I was certainly involved in the show, though. The reason why I said he hasn't watched my show, he seems to be under the impression that I do these types of, well, I suppose in a way I am doing that right this moment. So, maybe he has a point. Let's go ahead and continue.
We covered it. Well, it originally started from me covering Blind Mike, WATP, Gino Keanu, and Casey Armstrong on Point Dabble Point, the internet's worst show ever.
I do not watch that show, Point Dabble Point. I'm not actually too familiar what that show is even referring to as. I am aware that Blind Mike had mentioned being on that show, and it's Stuttering John related, but there are so many of those shows, it's got to be one that's tough to keep track of.
And we had a couple choice words for Blind Mike on that show. Mainly that he was a Carl ball washer, that he was a WATP apologist.
Of course, I know he's talking about Blind Mike and Carl right now, but this is directed at me for some reason.
John, when we all know that's like
at least this first moment here, he gets into it.
To do. Obviously, he's blind, and that's always funny. Like, imagine a blind guy trying to be a tell it how it is guy. I mean, that's hilarious. All the meanwhile, I mean, streaming from inside his closet. I mean, it's really insane stuff. So he caught wind, or I'm sorry, Blind Mike didn't catch wind on Wednesday when we covered it. Hack Ride and David Collins.
Is that true? I'll have to confirm that. I'm not sure. Is Blind Mike actually recording from his closet? It's interesting. What a great use of space, if that's the case.
Caught wind, and they were breaking down Win by 2.
So here I am, of course, I'm
advice on what
accused of breaking him down, I guess.
I should cover people.
Well, he's still talking about it. Maybe we did break him down.
It's like, I got it from here, guys. I'm fully capable of running my own show. And although some shows might be into the ground, I will be the reason why it runs into the ground. I don't need any outside fucking pointers and how-tos, especially from a guy, in an anime.
I guess I must have scrolled back here. My impression, I thought he jumped right into talking about me. I guess he's talking about Hack Ride. I had nothing bad to say about his show. Maybe it's a little negative or whatever the case was. I don't even remember exactly what I had said. I do remember that I had made a lot of, in this freeze frame, he kind of looks like Blind Mike. Am I wrong here? It kind of looks like Hack Ride's AI Blind Mike. Maybe that's what's going on there. Maybe he sees himself in Blind Mike. Anyway, we'll continue.
Animation of a trash can. I don't need any of that shit. So David Collins decides he's going to give Win by 2 a piece of his mind.
Well, a piece of my mind. I was reaching out cordially, in fact. I thought we would mend some fences. I need everyone to know that I was
pretty fucking wasted last show, as I am today. The only difference is my stomach, for whatever reason, this past Wednesday, was, completely jacked. And I couldn't even finish. I was listening to this David Collins guy, and he was taking a sip of water and then swallowing.
It was a beer, I believe. We didn't go to any mixed drinks that evening.
Mouth noises, gurgling noises, swallowing noises. It reminds me of bubbling summer heated ranch. It makes me immediately.
Now, one thing to note here is it's going to sound like he's making a very good point. But I assure you, when I go on another show like Blind Mike's or anybody, I do my best to be as professional as possible, and we do have access to this cough button or mute button. Unfortunately, what we're running into here is I used to have a much more professional mic setup, and we had an issue in the winter where that has since fallen apart, so we are working on getting to that. This was supposed to be a quick fix, and I think he's going to get into that too. Now, I refer to what was supposed to be a quick fix and is still an issue as a pain point. And if anybody doesn't understand what that I mean, but when I say pain point, please let me know in the chat because that's actually going to be a pain point of his in just a few moments.
Nauseous, even if I'm not drinking. I don't necessarily have to be drinking. Just when I'm drinking, it amplifies it. When I'm not drinking, like I'll still get fucking sick. So I'm listening to this David Collins guy. I'm listening to this trash can animation. And I'm letting them know that they're pretty much, it's like, you know, David Collins, you're streaming from underneath a fucking sewage pipe in your laundry room. And the other guy, he's dressed up as a trash can.
So often when I do these other shows, I like to meet up with Jerry, and I actually often will use pieces of his basement. So he does have me there. He's pretty close on that. But, certainly it's one clue that he has not watched the show because we do have a variety of areas that we like to shoot things.
And I don't even know who you are. It's pretty fucking insane.
And that's why I reached out and introduced
animations
myself.
And puppets, like they want to like talk shit, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's just insane. They don't put their name or face behind anything. It's like anybody could jump behind a filter, become anonymous, and then proceed to talk shit. It's a coward, pussy, bitch fucking thing to do.
Some harsh words.
So we get David Collins. He's going to send me a Instagram DM.
Of course.
Now, I don't usually read DMs, but this wasn't really, you're not giving me, David Collins, you weren't giving me anything I shouldn't have said. And I feel like you would say this on your show. I think you did say this.
Now, let's go back here. He's making a bold claim as if unfortunately, we haven't even had an episode. I started this stream today explaining our scheduling difficulty, but he asserts here that I've already discussed this on quote unquote my show. I'm not even sure if I would consider this live stream my show here, so this is what makes me first think, I believe he's just doing a theatrical act here. At first glance, of course, I imagine that this was some sort of comedy news channel, some sort of legitimate coverage of events. But this leads me to believe that he's just doing a theatrical act here, in which case I somewhat support. I like the news aspect of the comedy area genre there, but I'm still open to appearing on his show. I think that would be a fun time. He's a theatrical guy. I might enjoy his company. So let's go on here, and you'll see exactly what I'm referring to.
Thing I shouldn't have said. I feel like you would say this on your show. I think you did say this on your show, to be quite honest with you, but I don't have that clip, so I'm just going to read what you said. So this
of course you don't have that clip. It does not
but
exist.
This wasn't really,
but now you can make this clip.
David Collins, you weren't
this
giving
will
me
be that clip for you.
Thing I shouldn't have said. I feel like you would say this on your show. I think you did say this on your show, to be quite honest with you, but I don't have that clip, so I'm just going to read what you said. So this was David Collins. He's going to give me a piece of his mind here. He goes, "Hello. I saw that you reacted to my appearance on the Hack Ride Studios channel. Thank you for the kind words. I just wanted to,
certainly
because we were saying David Collins. We want David Collins to be a co-host for a second.
Win by 2 here was very kind to me when he was reacting to that Hack Ride channel. So I sent him this nice message and, of course, thanked him for those kind words. But I had to let him know maybe a few things that he got wrong during that coverage about me specifically. So that's about what he's responding to. And then I sent him that nice message. I thought we'd be opening up a kind dialogue. This was the way that he decided to handle it, which I am completely open to.
On the Hack Ride Studios channel. Thank you for the kind words. I just wanted to, because we were saying David Collins. We want David Collins to be a co-host for a segment.
Highly regarded. Thanks so much for that nice comment about the reality show. I'm looking forward to part 2 also. We have some great ideas.
I'd bring David Collins on here to co-host a segment about Carl, and we'd get David Collins to make fun of Carl or Blind Mike. We can
win by 2. I'd be happy to participate in a piece of your show, I'm sure. Maybe you won't catch me doing some of the bullying that it sounds like you're asking me to participate in, but it might be a fun show to join in and talk about some of these people that you react to. I would certainly be open to that idea, and I look forward to you messaging me back and not just talking about my message on your show.
I'd bring David Collins on here to co-host a segment about Carl, and we'd get David Collins to make fun of Carl or Blind Mike. We can get him breaking down Blind Mike. I think that would be fun. He goes, thank you for your kind words. I just wanted to reach out today and fact check a few of your comments.
Right.
Okay. Nothing like fucking Snopes coming knocking on your door saying, hey, we got to fact check you on some of the past remarks you made. You know what I mean? It's like not even Snopes is doing that, dude. Anyway, we'll proceed. It's understandable. I may have...
You know, I used to follow this streamer that every time he opened a new drink, he would say, Shost, Skull, and then the other ones that follow, you know, all the variety of those things, and then he'd open the beer, of course. That'd be a fun thing to do while doing a live stream. I wonder if other people do things like that.
Never have come across your radar. You haven't. For most of my career. I'm knocking on your door saying, hey, we got to fact check you on some of the past remarks you made. You know what I mean? It's like not even Snopes is doing that, dude. Anyway, we'll proceed. It's understandable. I may have never have come across your radar. You haven't. For most of my career, I was a radio personality in Manhattan, Kansas. Is that like a fictitious place? It sounds made up.
Manhattan, Kansas has been voted, you know, one of the most beautiful towns in all of America many times, I believe. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't heard of it, but it's understandable. It does sound fun, of course. There is a much more known Manhattan, certainly.
Manhattan, Kansas. We'll roll with it, though. Recently, I've been producing and hosting my new show, David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show.
Slante, back to you, Nathaniel White.
Again, you know, if it's like, if you're doing what you were doing on that trash can show, I mean, one can only imagine how...
And this is what I'm referring to here. He has not even bothered to watch the show, and I'm sorry to hear that, of course. I'd be happy to go on his show and explain it to him, but I think it would be much easier for him just to check out the show. I'm sure he'd become a fan.
With it, though. Recently, I've been producing and hosting my new show, David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show. Again, you know, if it's like, if you're doing what you were doing on that trash can show, I mean, one can only imagine how fucking piss poor it might have.
Right. Well, certainly I was only co-hosting. Well, I wouldn't even consider a co-host there. I was a guest on the show. I was just joining to participate. But anyway,
might be produced and.
He's got a great point, though. Thank God for Jerry. I'll say that much.
Shot. He goes, of course, in order to promote the show, I have done some appearances on other shows. Okay. One other note. Okay, so this is another fact check he's going to let me know. One other note. It was not an Xbox microphone. Man, you know, I call this guy out for having a standard Xbox headset, much like KB. He's going to fact check me in live time.
Right.
And he's going to go, however, it's a pain point. A pain point. I looked up a pain point microphone. I couldn't even find one.
And it is a pain point. This should have been a quick fix in December, and we've let it go all the way to today. And I believe we're going to resolve that, but we want to look for an upgrade and not just another quick fix. So, you know, we're kind of in the middle there. So it's certainly a criticism worth pointing out. A great point by Win by 2. But he does not know what I mean when I call it a pain point. Of course, it's a pain point. It's a real pain in my you-know-what.
He's going to go, however, it's a pain point. A pain point. I looked up a pain point microphone. I couldn't even find one. So if you want to link me to this, DC, I'd be happy to check it out. But until then, it just seems like you either misspelled something.
You know, he has a point here. He did not respond to my DM. He just decided to talk about it on the show. This was sent to me, though. So it turns out it was a good way to reach me and get this information. Maybe I will send you and we'll talk about this pain point situation before we talk about me going on your show. That would be a good direction.
Something, or you're just making this shit up. He goes, it was
all right, Win by 2. Let's wrap this up here. I'd love to play a game of chess.
He goes, it was not an Xbox microphone, however, it was a pain point. What was once a quick fix in December has become a crutch affecting all online communications. Oh, I don't know about that. because I have a Shure SM7B and I don't have a, you know what I mean? So it's not all. Don't
You
generalize.
know, and I'm writing is clear and concise, and this one leads me to believe it's possible that English is just a second language and we're speaking past each other, so hopefully in the future our communications can be much more clearer.
Crutch affecting all online communications. Oh, I don't know about that because I have a Shure SM7B and I don't have a, you know what I mean? So it's not all.
I don't know what you mean.
Generalize. Lastly, I believe all drinking of the glass was muted.
I did my best.
It wasn't. We heard it. We
Say that much.
enhanced it with our enhanced technology, our audio enhanced technology. It cost me $92,000 to install such a tool. Just like my Zoom.
You know, and I'd hate to be rude here and besmirch any other people in the industry, but I've seen plenty of radio. You know, I'm somebody who would love to be on the air, not somebody who's been so often behind the scenes. So yeah, it'd be nice if somebody was here and they could set up all this equipment for me. And I've seen the most professional of radio personalities left on their own using microphones much worse than what I'm using today. I'd say that much.
With our enhanced technology, our audio enhanced technology. It cost me $92,000 to install such a tool. Just like my Zoom tool costs like 12 grand to install, my audio enhanced technology was about 100 grand to install, but it allows me to hear when people don't have their mics muted. And we know for a fact,
Well,
your
sounds
mic
like a
wasn't
curse.
muted. It made me almost throw up on my own show. And that's how we are in the position we are in today. He goes, as someone who's been in the industry for some time, I'm
Right.
very familiar with the cough button. Well, you know who's not familiar with the cough button? That's Patrick fucking Melton. He just coughs. And
You know, and
coughs
this is
and
again
coughs.
where somebody, I think he gets a little confused. I'm no, I can't, you know, I have to assume that he is either a stand-up comedian or a podcaster of sorts. But this Patrick Melton fella, I am not familiar with, and I think that he's just confused and thinks that I'm more a part of this world than, you know, maybe than I really am. Of course, it is growing. I'm spending time with these people, so I don't mean to distance myself, but just to be fair there.
And coughs. He has a mute button that can go like, chooses not to use it. He'll just cough into the mic like a big fucking obese.
I do love
ogre
this man's
would do.
shtick.
So, David Collins, I'm trying to steer you into the direction of not becoming Patrick. You see? Doing the opposite of what Patrick does. Patrick is not a good example you want to base any sort of podcasting off of. You want to actually do the exact opposite of what Melton does. He then goes on to say, I appreciate your offer and possibly upping some production value.
So he had actually offered to, he has this great technology that allows him to zoom in on subjects that he's talking to, and it's not the type of show that I generally participate in, or I do participate, I suppose, but I'm not running that type of show. Our show is miles away from that, so I have no need really for that myself. So I just said, I can pass on that upgrade, but thanks so much for the offer there.
And possibly upping some production value. We do a very different type of show, so those improvements may not be appropriate. But thank you. I meant the positive comments I made regarding
I
the
did.
program. I hope that you have a great weekend. Best regards, David Collins. So there's a lot to unpack there, but the short of it, for
Okay.
the sake of time, the short of that is we offered him to co-host a segment, and I don't think he's going to do it.
Hello, Craig. You know, I have to respond to Win by 2 there. He makes a claim. Win by 2? Please, I've reached out to you. You've talked about me, and you now we have this fun, friendly rivalry there. So, but I'd love to go on your show, Win by 2B. That would be a great time, and I think we'd really get along there. Craig, thanks so much for the compliment.
The short of it, for the sake of time, the short of that is we offered him to co-host a segment, and I don't think he's going to do it. But this is just a cop-out here, because I appreciate your offer.
This is really what's happening here. Win by 2, we could be friends. You know, I don't want to be too forward here, but this man sounds Like he's been rejected before. He tell people, he says, I'd love for you to come on the show, and everybody says no. I have no problem with you win by 2. I would love to continue this conversation in the future.
Offer and possibly upping some production. I would have paid money out of my own pocket, Collins.
Well, and get back to me. I'd love to talk.
Enhance your studio to make it look better than mine.
I've only said nice
taken
things.
Me up on that offer. But this is just such a cop-out where he goes, we do a very different type of show, so those improvements may not
And this
be
is what I mean when I say he just has not watched the show. Of course, anybody would say that, I think it's fair to say that we do a very different type of show.
Well, we've seen your show, and again, it's like...
He has not seen my show.
Improvements may not be appropriate, but thank you. Well, we've seen your show, and again, it's like... It doesn't have to necessarily be a visual thing, although it should be, especially if you're going to be doing things on YouTube.
And we have been working on the visual elements of the show. I think many people would say that between now and October, our visual elements have improved maybe by 170 to 200%.
YouTube is a visual video platform.
Right, but we do like to try to keep it primarily in audio format. Certainly, he does not know that, so it's not worth really pointing out and responding to, but it is the case.
Is a visual video platform. It's not just audio you have to worry about anymore. Now you're stepping into the video side of things. And your audio is not great either. It's what a pain point. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Buy just a microphone. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear, oh, we do a different show, so therefore I don't have to spend the money. Don't be a cheap fuck. That's Patrick Melton. He buys bullshit fucking 5G closets.
And this is not a criticism that you can say anything. This is only true at this point. These sentences right here, he makes a good point, and I think I would say that to anybody that I met on the street.
What a pain point. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Not that, of course. I know what a pain point is, and I use it in conversation if that's not clear already.
Microphone. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear, oh, we do a different show, so therefore I don't have to spend the money. Don't be a cheap fuck. That's Patrick Melton. He buys bullshit fucking 5G closets. Look where it's gotten him. A bunch of lag and dog lice. All right? So just listen to me. I know what the fuck it is I'm talking about.
I'm here listening.
And I will make
Video
you again
proof.
a fucking star. As for Blind Mike,
well, one thing you could say about this win by Tubi, I love his studio. I love his theatrics. I wouldn't say, I'm yet to be impressed too much by his marketing, so I'm not sure if he's going to be too much of an assistance for me, but I think that we'd have a great time spending some time together. I got a nice text message here. Let's take a quick look. All right, that's great. No problem. We're just working on getting this scheduled, trying to get that. Some comedians are just impossible to get a hold of. But let's continue.
Star. As for Blind Mike, we get over to Blind Mike, and I don't even know who his co-host is. These guys have
Craig, of course. I believe he's in the chat. But
a fucking...
He moves on from me. I think that this is a blooming relationship, though. He didn't have too mean of things, and it sounded like the mean things that he did have to say about me may just be a big misunderstanding. So that's nice. Win by Tubi. Please reach out, or don't, and we could continue this fun rivalry on the internet. Maybe that's the way to go. We always need to figure out a new way to strum up some publicity. But why don't we play a little chess and just relax this evening? I'll be reading the chat here while I play some chess, and I'm going to be drinking some Coors Lights. Now, I picked up these Coors Lights. I got a nice deal on them. I don't really want to talk too specifically, but let's just say it was a good deal. Maybe we could clip that in some way and send it to him. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'll take that clip of me talking about the live stream there, and I'll send that to Jerry, and he can edit something up for us. That would be a good idea. Then we could just send that to Win by Tubi. But unfortunately, I did try to reach out to him even on X more publicly, and I reposted his clip talking about me, and I said I'd love a tour. Apparently, he didn't even see that because he didn't mention it in his coverage there. Well, that's too bad. We're going to jump into a quick 30-minute game of chess here. Now, I do have a couple notifications possibly. No, we don't have. I'm playing a fun game with great podcaster and prankster Joey LaFleur recently, and that's been great. Let's continue. We're going to get right into a game of chess. So, I'm on a big losing streak. Unfortunately, I haven't played for a period of time, and we just get into a losing streak after not playing for so long. I guess that's only natural. But we're going to do our best. We're going to just go straight into now. When I play white, primarily, and really the only opening that I could even name you is what I like to play is the Ponziani, where you look for a quick way to maybe get some pressure on the top left corner of the board there, but often they don't give you that opportunity. Now we are entering, and you're going to see the Ponziani opening. Oh, it's actually covered up by the fire that I put from B-roll. Of course, we're doing this reality show. I thought, why don't I take some of that B-roll and just throw it up in that blank spot in the screen, and that would work out well. Hackride wanted this to happen. Hackride is great. Some people have even said that he's great behind the scenes more than in front of the camera, and maybe that's true if he's able to connect people together like that. Now, a lot of you are going to be wondering, isn't he just going to take your pawn there? If we're lucky, he'll take that pawn there, because what we're going to do is maybe look for a little trap. The big thing about this Ponziani opening is that you're hoping that they don't play things perfectly, and you're able to sneak a little trap in. That's what we're going to be doing here. It can only help. He's a good dude. I think that win by 2 guy is a good dude. I really have no issue with him. He sounds nice enough, I'd say. He's got a great studio, too. I'm constantly impressed with that studio. Oh, what do we do here? So, of course, he's going to be looking for this situation. I guess we'll just give him the drop. This is very natural stuff, but he will just take, most likely, and we'll have this 2 center pawn situation. Maybe I'll end up just castling queenside because of it. You'll notice that my rating has dropped dramatically, I think, since the last time that I streamed chess, and that was mostly because of that losing streak that I was just referring to there. We have a few decisions to make, of course. And don't forget, I still do have my eyes on this knight. If at any point he moves this pawn up, we're going to be taking that knight, I think. But things are a little off the rails. I don't necessarily like... It's not going to be very natural for him to have the queen out like this. It's not a common situation that you'd run into. So I don't think he's going to have much to really capitalize on it like you might expect. He really is just gonna... Wow! So what I could do here is, of course, I could move my queen. What I need to do is defend this pawn. And that's what we're thinking. We're going through, how do we want to defend this pawn here? And we, of course, want to do that with the queen in some way. Let's say we move the queen here, though. His next move, naturally, would be to move the knight here, targeting my queen. But then I could just take his knight, so that actually would not work as effectively. Let's go for that. Of course, he may be giving me the knight there, but if I take it with my pawn, then he will just take my queen with his queen. So we can't go that, but let's see what he does next. Certainly the whole goal here is to be defending this pawn, eventually getting our king castled. I think since we've already traded those bishops, there's not going to be any concern. I'll just end up castling kingside. That studio is ridiculous. I believe he said he was going to fight me with a kendo stick because I made a comment about his studio. Oh, that's somewhat accurate, Craig, but, it's always fun. He just said, oh, I'm going to kick your butt, and that's he's on a channel that's talking trash. I'm sure he says that in jest all the time. Well, that's nice, brother. Of course, expensive studios don't mean much, but it is nice when you see an expensive studio. Right, that was a big blunder on my part here. But that's okay. What we're going to do next is we're just going to continue to target the heck out of this knight. I've been on a big losing streak these days, I'm telling you. And I feel so helpless in the last 2 days of a losing streak. I said, why don't I stream? And maybe that will cause me to be in a situation where I really have to focus on the game. I think that's a bad move on his part. I think he's left me... I think he has to leave that knight to be undefended at this point. I'm not sure what decision he has to make. At this point, he's going to have to move his queen. He's not going to have anywhere. Let's. I mean, no offense by this gentleman, but this is an insane decision. Now, I understand, of course, what he's doing. But I completely disagree. There's no... I could have just moved there in the first place, and that's what I really wanted to do. I actually don't think this is a good move on his part, though. I actually think he's really digging himself a hole. It's just very complicated. I'm not sure, you know, I'm not the best at this game at chess, but you can see I get myself into pickles so quickly in these games. He's got a $150,000 setup. He could teach you a thing or two. You know, I'm looking forward to talking with him, too. I think he could. I've seen a lot of podcasts, and David seems to be the truest of the bunch. Well, I'm not sure, of course, and unfortunately we haven't started our podcast yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to that when we start putting out those episodes. Right. He has no check after this move, though. Well, he could give me his knight if he'd prefer, I guess. This is not a... I don't think these... I think... Well, actually, I gave him a very good situation because he could have put himself in a situation for a discovered check with that knight and left me in a really worse situation. I don't mind moving my king now that I've lost all of my center pawns. You know, we're already in a pretty rough situation. I'm just hoping that I can make this back with one of my knights. Just like that. And I think at this point, oh, knocking the camera around there. What's going on? Is it an earthquake? But I think just like that, we've kind of salvaged this game a little bit. Oh, that is a bad situation. No concern. You can have that because what we're going to do next is going to get spooky. We have a lot of pieces that are getting into play, so I don't necessarily really mind him taking a couple of them right now because all of his pieces are still in the back row. I'm not even sure what he thinks he's going to be doing with that lead that he's gained. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and just move these pieces out and just keep pushing our king forward, I think. I don't know how he's going to... if he's going to know exactly how to deal with that. This could be very good for me if he gives me just a move or two. I just need I think one more move and the momentum is back in my favor. Love the show. Enjoy seeing your different backgrounds. Well, thank you so much. Toward the Unknown. You know, so many people have such interesting names in this chat. Great stuff as always. Thanks so much, Blind Mike Geary. Uh-oh, though. You know, maybe I'm going to get in trouble by saying something nice about you. We want to wait. We can, of course, that check, all that check does is give him a free move on that bishop. I don't want him to have that free move on that bishop. Naturally, though, at any point he could just castle here, and that would make a lot of sense. I'd love to just move over to the left here. Naturally, you'd think, let's get out of the way. Let's go kind of get out of towards where the action is with the king. But I'm just hesitant to be on a white-colored space here. But I think we'll just have to keep moving it. We're gonna manually castle, and just end up on b1 in a few moves after we do a couple of other things. We do have a major threat, and we're going to even out the game with that major threat, so he does have to be somewhat concerned about that. He lost a lot by setting up that attack on the rook, it looks like. If anybody's curious about the scheduling of the next episode, or my commentary and reaction to Win by Tubi, I almost called him Win by Truly. That'd be a fun name, too. We're always looking for fun nicknames. I'm a big fan of nicknames. But I responded to him talking about me today, earlier on this channel. Or early on this live stream, I should say. That's what I meant to say there. Boy, I really felt good about it. Why don't we just go ahead and take this pawn? There's nothing wrong with taking the free pawn as long as we're here. I'm getting a little nervous about this game, I'll tell you. We'll take the free pawn. For right now, let's just take the free pawn. Your material sounded pretty great by the end of your first few comedy shows. Best of luck on the road to 40 minutes. You know, it's so difficult to put together that material. One thing I am happy about, though, is how much of an improvement that first weeks of material has had up to today. You know, the other day we did a comedy show. I was in Davenport, Iowa at the Village Theater, and I was able to do 7 minutes, and I just went through about 7 minutes of material with no problem. I didn't even look at the note card that I had there, so things have really been going well, and I'm very happy about that. But thanks so much for that comment. I'm getting very frustrated by this person that I'm playing against. You know, I'd certainly like to... But I'm just going to have to continue to guard this queen. He's keeping things pushing on me. Has been playing since he was 18-year-old. I did somewhat enjoy his commentary, though. That was a fun, that Win by Tubi. Not unfunny. So he's giving me this... He's giving me the bishop for free, and you have to ask yourself, what could he be thinking here? What is his plan? If I take that bishop, what is he doing? He must have something in mind that involves a great move by taking that bishop, or is that just a blunder on his part? Has he decided to blunder the game? Or did he just give me the free bishop? You have to wonder, what could he be thinking? Now, certainly I could even take the pawn at this point, and that might be a good direction to go. We'll take the bishop and hope for... I don't see what he could be doing. What keeps me from just moving back into that situation? Now, then he checks. He has no further checks if I just move inward here, but... And there's no concern. I'd like to get my rook out, of course, but if I move back here, he will just continue to check me, but he actually won't. He could check me with the knight. But that won't be a problem. What could he have in mind? He must have something in mind here for him to go, or just give me the bishop. I'd hate to block in this rook, though. We'll just have to take it like this. Was he under the impression that my king was the only thing guarding the knight? Is that what's happening there? You know, of course, he'll take the... He could move his knight. He could just move his queen back to where it was before. If anybody would like to add me on chess.com and give me a play at some point in the future, I like to play. I have many people on my friends list, and we'll play daily games, and you have 24 hours to make a move, but I'd be happy to include anybody who adds me. DC 30-minute half hour on chess.com. So we're getting to the point now where somebody's just going to be taking a long time to make moves. Let's see, did anything happen exciting at these comedy events? I think this next episode, or maybe not the next episode, this next episode of the reality show, I think we're going to be talking a lot more about writing and expanding up to 10 to 15 minutes of material and kind of putting that together so we have that in the works. Well, that was an interesting move. I did not expect that. What I'd like to do... Well, I get he's just still only targeting this queen, and it's unbelievably frustrating. I'll take the free pawn again, and now we're even, but he must have something in mind where this is going to be a problem for me. That was obvious enough, but that's not a legitimate problem for me, because we have our... Because we have our bishops, you'll have to give me one moment. Oh, I've muted myself when I was saying one moment. Just give me one moment here. Alright, my bad, excuse me. There's a bit of an issue, but no problem. All fixed now. Okay. Certainly we have to move that queen, and we have to defend the knight. There I am. Hello. So it's a pretty natural move. There's only one move that does both of those things, and that's this one. David plays chess while I play checkers. Is Craig a fan of droughts? That's interesting. Not a lot of people know that about Craig, I imagine. Now, one funny thing happened the other day. I was at and here he is again trying to set up. He's looking, this is somebody who's looking to get his knight here. And now that he has this lined up, I can't even take it back. A real issue that we're going to have to deal with pretty soon here. I need to defend this square at all costs. But I also need to defend this square. I need to defend a lot with this queen right now. I need to defend this knight. I need to defend this knight as best I can. That's kind of the last priority. And I also need to defend this square, because that is going to be a big issue if he could get something else on that square. Now, we'll have to lose that. We'll just have to lose this as a priority. Oh no, I misclicked. My finger just made the move. So I accidentally did click that. I do not like these trackpads. I don't like these options where you get to click without actually meaning to click. I think it's not appropriate. I like a one-button click, and that being the left clicker. Now I've gone ahead and moved that bishop while just trying to look at it. I was thinking about it, and I dropped it there. That's too bad. Of course, what he's going to do now is simply... Well, maybe it is a little complicated, and maybe that, I don't think that's the best move that I could have made, but I don't think it is the worst move that could have been made there. It is getting a little tense. Maybe we'll win a game on stream. We've somehow managed to even it up here, but things are looking a little risky. Of course, what I could have done that would have been a lot smarter is moving that pawn upwards, and that would have accomplished all of those things. But if we just decided to trade... Oh, I see. This is why it was a bad move. Oh, well, thank goodness. That's ideal for me, then. I could disable my trackpad clicker. That might be worth investigating there. This was the move that I had anticipated a long time ago. Luckily, I have something that's... I have the worst move I could possibly make by blocking my bishop from the knight there. 100% the worst move that I could have thought to make. Well, I guess I could have just... No, well, I was in check, so I think that was the worst move that I could have made. He will just take the knight with his knight, and we have a dramatic... I just dropped it. I have so much time, and we've used a lot of this time, and I knew exactly that he was going to do that because of why would he not? Why would that... You know, and I think this is the moment that you say, hey, maybe it's time to surrender. I don't have any line. We had some ability there, but this rook has actually been a big issue this entire game now. What's his next check is the question. We do have the ability to checkmate him, even though we have a big disadvantage, even though we've just thrown the game completely away. We still have the ability that we could end this game, and then I think I'm even going to play just one more game today. If there's anything, that was an unexpected move. I'm not sure what his plan is here. I think it would have been better for him to bring his queen in, but then, yeah, if he should have brought his queen into the game and taken that pawn with the... I really feel I should have beaten this person. And I threw the game away. It's too bad. Maybe this next game we'll be able to get a win, though. Does anybody have any hot gossip that would be worth investigating? Of course, we have this YouTube open here. I could put on anything, but I don't think there's anything to. I wanted to talk a little about that win by Tubi and talk about him, and you know, I love a fun nickname, so I thought that was fun to call him a nickname. Where do we go now? We want to move this back. We're just going to manually castle with the bishop. That would be an interesting course of events if that's what ended up happening here. At this point, we might as well just make sure our this is a loss that we are not going to resign. We're gonna push through all the way and make sure that he has to finish it correctly. Hack Ride, I'm glad that you are here. Maybe you'll just want to skip to the portion. I did talk a little bit about that win by Tubi gentleman, and he's a fun person, and I hope that he invites me back on his show. We're looking forward to. We went back and forth, and by back and forth, I mean I reached out to him, and he did not say anything back to me, and just decided to talk about it on his show, which I can certainly understand, but I would hope that he would just reach out to me at some point here. That would be a checkmate. No, not yet. I'm not sure what just happened. There's sounds going off in this room here. I think there's audio devices picking things up. We're just going straight in with the king. Uh-oh. Give me one moment here. The audio devices are making noise. All right, well, excuse me. Boy, I'll tell you, that was not the move that I anticipated. Is he just going to slowly push me back now with the pawns? Very interesting, whatever he decides to do here. Now, I am a big fan of board games, and I'm a big fan of chess. As we're finding, though, you know, you could say what you will, I guess, about my play. I've played much better in the past, and I have a rating that some people are impressed by. It's not very good, but it is somewhat above average, I believe. That all being said, you know, maybe I play another game in the future. I'm not sure if anybody else would have any ideas there, but that would be a interesting idea. I have to defend this knight, and it's very frustrating. This person has refused to just beat me. He insists that we get nowhere for a strong majority of this game, it seems. I have one more plan here. We could set up now, we could try to set up some sort of check where we get our bishop over here. We put our bishop here, and then we move our knight, and we get a check. And then that will allow, that hopefully gets us somewhere. It is possible. I could see us taking that queen out of the game here. Oh, nope. That is completely my fault too. I put myself in that situation. But what could I have done differently? I have no other move. It's very effective. No, he's completely done it. And that's got to be it. Because now he will just take the queen. I have nothing, and we'll give him a resignation. How about that? Or should we just give him the checkmate? It just hurts so bad to, you feel so bad about a loss where you just have to play it out to the end. I think we'll resign and get one more game in here and then just end the stream. I wanted to say some things up front, and we did that, and of course, but I thought maybe we'd stream some chess to some nice music here. So we were going on and doing that, and I'll grab a last beer, it looks like. All right. Well, he has still not. I guess that is the best way to kind of look for a checkmate at this point. This is our plan. This is our only shot. And unfortunately, we don't even get to do that. So he's just going to push it in. He's going to now move his knight, and that will be a check. I will move here, and then he will take that bishop for checkmate. And I could have seen that all. I make one terrible move somewhere in the middle. What can you do? Takahashi. Interesting. Let's go to one more game here. See if maybe we can get a win in today. Oh, what I was saying, was there any other games that anybody else... Now, I would have the ability, I suppose, to play a different game. I do have a PlayStation 3. There's a PlayStation 4. I'm not even sure. I'd have to double check exactly what it is, but we could break that out and maybe think of a game. I'm usually not too much into people playing games as a show, but it might be something to do once every couple of weeks just to answer any questions that some people might have. Of course, like today, I wanted to give a few updates, and we had to respond to that win by Tubi gentleman, which was a great time. Do I have any guilty pleasures? Guilty pleasures. I'll tell you, M&M's. I was actually at a parade yesterday. I went to with Jerry and Amelia and Jerry's family. We went to a parade, and that was a lot of fun. I think we have some of that on film. We're going to be putting, maybe some of that will be included in the reality show. But at this parade, of course, some of the people are throwing out candy. I managed to get some great M&Ms, and I'm a big fan. I would consider M&Ms one of my guilty pleasures. Well, it was a very full beer, and I thought it was just a regular one, and about the first sip, I think I just dumped it all in front of me there. That's too bad. I'll have to grab a nap. All right, well, we solved that problem there. That's good. It's resolved. Boy, I think this is going to be a boring game of chess. I say that because he just went 2 knights right away. I guess that's pretty standard, but what do you do about that? I can't make it too exciting. Let's go ahead and just let's look for as quick as a queenside castle as we can get here. Then we'll just have to make sure we protect this pawn. Hopefully he doesn't have his bishop right here by the time we make those moves. Have a, what did you call me? A champion's heart? Well, I hope that doesn't mean it's inflated. You know, a lot of champions, I'm sure they got big hearts because they've been having such athletic careers. Alright, well, we're waiting for this person to make a move now. This week, for the reality show, I'll give you guys a little glimpse behind the scenes here. Of course, this reality show involves so much traveling and going to other comedy venues and things of that nature. This is one of my least favorite parts. I need to figure out a way that I avoid this situation, because this always puts me a move or two behind. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do. I put my queen there, and I'm hoping that we get a situation where I get to get my knight out, and we do some sort of trade on there. And I'm also just double defending this pawn in case he really pushes at it. So that's kind of the idea. But so often, I'm leaving this undefended, and he just pushes me, and now I've just moved my queen in a triangle for no reason, wasting a move, essentially. And now things are going to get pretty risky. I'm not sure what he might have planned here, but he's already brought out his bishop, and it's targeting one of my weakest pieces. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my pawn here, because of course I want to avoid him putting his knight there. You know, if we had a David Collins, somebody asked me the other day, they said, have you thought about starting a Reddit? And I said, you know, I don't spend too much time on Reddit, and I think it would make sense that other people who are fans of a show, apparently I've caught wind. There's a clip channel. There's a David Collins clip channel somewhere. I haven't found it, and Jerry hasn't sent me a link or anything, and I'm not sure who's behind it, but I have caught wind, a bit of a rumor, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But this live show would be a great way to not happy. Not happy, but we're going to just push it through here. I think that's going to be okay. Let's go here first. We're just going to move things up. If he wants to break it up, I'll break it up. Oh, a little sneak peek behind the scenes, though. So this week, of course, just like that first episode, I've continued every week. I'm at that Monk's coffee shop underneath the venue there, and I'm hosting the open mic at that show. So that's a good time, and I enjoy that experience. And we've been certainly getting better with our comedy there. It's a great place to try out new material. So I've been enjoying that. Tuesday, we'll be going to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and the Lucky Cat. The Lucky Cat, of course, is closed now, but the people running the Lucky Cat have gone to a brewery, a local brewery, and are continuing the open mic at that venue. So we do that on a Tuesday. I'll be doing that. And I think Wednesday I'll be going back to Davenport or Rock Island, although I will have to check the calendar. I think it might be the third Wednesday. Maybe I'll be back up in Waterloo or Cedar Falls. The third Wednesday, it looks like it. I'll have to check the calendar then. But we're doing this about every night of the week. I have to go do a comedy set somewhere in the state of Iowa. So it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of organizing and going through that process. But it is what it is. And when we're working on that show, and we think it's going to be a great project. And I'm literally looking forward to that second episode. We have some great ideas, and I think it's going to be a good time. What I'm trying to do now is just break up the center. He hasn't castled yet, neither have I, of course. He is in much better situation to do so. So we're trying to find something aggressive here. It's going to take a lot of moves. If I want to turtle up here, I don't really know if I have the expertise in order to know with this formation exactly how I'm supposed to turtle up. I'd love to maybe castle queenside one of these days, but the amount of moves that it's going to take in order to get that in situation, I think for right now I just need to think about being aggressive. Maybe even we'll be able to get a 4 block here. That'll make me feel very secure. You know, Craig, I did want to comment on that, of course. So Craig, co-host on the Blind Mike project, made a claim today that he had reached out to me in any capacity having to do with my comments on the Hack Ride. Excuse me, I'm moving my queen here. Hack Ride Studios channel. I made some comments that, you know, how would it be if we figured out, you know, I could go to the New England area, that Boston area. Maybe I'd do a comedy show. We could work that out ahead of time, and then I'd go visit some of the open mics and make sure we get our time's worth, and then get back over to the Midwest, of course. But try to organize that trip. I would love to do that, and I've thought about that, and we're kind of working out the kinks and what that looks like, and maybe kind of making some decisions there. But Craig, on the Blind Mike project today, had made the claim that he in any capacity had reached out to me in regards to this thought or idea or whatever you might want to call it, this possible event that we'll make take place. You know, I'd be happy if you reached out to me. Please reach out to me, Craig. Text me, let me know. You know, I'm sure you have my contact information. But of course, at this point, that has not happened. So we'll see exactly. But you know, I would love for Craig to be a part. But just so everybody knows, he was a bit embellishing the truth when it comes to what has already taken place in that conversation. But I would look forward to talking to you about that, Craig. We can certainly I think we could make that happen. Oh, well, that's interesting. I just got a text message. I wonder who that's from. Anyway, we need to put our queen somewhere. We're in a very silly situation here with our queen. If only our bishop was somewhere else. This is why you see that his bishop is on white here, targeting this, and like I had mentioned, it's always a strong piece to target. Imagine if my piece was right here targeting, that would be checkmate, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you really want to get a piece there if you can. As black, you very rarely get that opportunity. Now I just have to focus on running my queen around and making sure it doesn't get taken out unnecessarily. And in order to also get my white bishop out, I think I'm going to need to throw that out low here. And that's what we'll continue to do. We're just going to hide our queen there and see what happens. Texted? Oh, that's very... very funny. It's very interesting. I'm getting texts about a possible, let's see what we can do in Boston, or that Boston, New England area. And I'm also getting texts about Israel and Palestine. I'm not always a busy person, but people do send me those messages. Boy, wouldn't that be interesting? A Boston show. Yeah, I'm talking actually with the gentleman that runs the Gold Room open mic. Well, R.I.P. baby. We'll see. They're talking about it picking back up. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that Gold Room open mic. But one thing about it, it is run by a man named Delicious. I was actually talking to Delicious. He said he loves that Boston area. He'd love to do that. So maybe this summer we'll think about that trip. That'd be very exciting. We could get some shows. We could get some open mics out on that trip. And incorporate that into the reality show prior to our headlining gig. While I'm waiting for this move to make, I almost went up to my browser there and I thought, why don't I check my DM, see if anybody, but I am screen sharing. It would be a little risky to screen share some of those, so I think that we'll let that hang a little bit. We were targeting that. This is a difficult situation here. Difficult situation. Let's see here. I feel very stuck in this position. I guess I'm just gonna work on kicking this bishop out. I'm not sure what could go wrong there. That seems to be obviously this would be the move. This is the natural move, but then he just trades bishop. I have these two front pawns. That can't be a good thing. There's no way that's gonna work out well for me here. So what I'd like to do is corner this bishop somehow. I think we're in a situation where we could corner this bishop somehow. I guess that starts with this move. We'll just have to wait and see and follow to see how he can wait a little bit too to move that bishop and kind of play around there. And we're not even going to get a full trap on him. We're just going to push him, and then he's going to be watching this line the rest of the game. And this line is going to feel pretty dangerous throughout the rest of the game, I think. So we'll have to see exactly what happens here. Well, he's forced the trade. Essentially, he's forced the trade here. It's kind of better for me if we take it later, but I think he has something in mind. It's a difficult decision. If anybody has a queen to g7, I would actually like to go queen to e7. I think that feels good. I think we can make something happen there, but we're going to be ending up trading some pieces, and I feel very nervous that he is the one pushing these decisions here. E7 is the way to go, though. I believe E7. Although we take the trade, his knight is kind of trapped there. We can start getting our pieces out very casually, in fact. There's nothing stopping us. We take the trade, we just move on with this game very casually, I believe. Meanwhile, he has a lot of pieces that have left to kind of be introduced into the game. A7 to 8-5 would have me lose my queen for no good reason. So that can't be it. Although it's an idea, I understand, and I don't disagree with the idea of ideas, but we're going to have to go, I believe we're going to go to E7, and then we're going to have to push that bishop out, and then I think the trade is good for me, in fact. I don't believe that he has given this enough thought. I believe that this trade is actually good for me. Because this is what's going to happen next. We're just going to start pushing, getting all of our pieces out, and try to get to the end game as soon as possible. Let's get our pieces out there. Let's start trading. Let's have a good time. And let me get all of my pieces on the board. gonna be a problem for you, sir. I saw it coming. I knew we get this trade out of the way. I feel like I have all my pieces. They're out. They're firing. We got things happening on this board. He did the trade. He said, okay, what's next? And now he's realizing it. He's saying, uh-oh, we got a problem. Hey, Houston. Speaking of Houston, you know, I was speaking with, I didn't get to really go back and forth with him, but I was seeing some Tyler Meyerhoff updates. Boy, what a great guy. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in Austin there. That Tyler Meyerhoff is something. I'm sure that so many people are going to see him in the future, if not only maybe on one of those Kill Tonys. He was at many concerts. He's saying how much he loves Austin. I'd love to talk to him. Maybe we'll have to talk to him for the reality show in the future. Of course, when it comes to talking about, though, those episodes are going to be so far, it's not even be worth considering. We always have those creative juices flowing, I guess. Now you'll see I'm setting up this big line, and maybe that's not a good thing, but I'm going to push right through. Well, I just got a nice text from somebody. You know, I'd love to get a drink with you too. But we'll see exactly. We're going to figure out the game here. It's a big problem. We're looking... that castle is very good for him. I would say that much. He's really got a nice nestled situation. And I don't have 3 pawns. What I'd like to have is I have 3 pawns. We would just start marching forward. But I think I need to get this one out first. We have a weak pawn here that needs to be dealt with immediately. Had he not... That's probably a safe move, though. He definitely needed a castle. Let's go ahead and defend that pawn first. That'll be a big move. What he's going to do is probably get this rook out right here and look at this line, which I completely agree with. Depending on what he does here, we'll either defend this pawn or we'll get this way out here to defend this move, because we want to just continue to push forward through that center. I don't mind my king at all right now, because I think we're going to get an opportunity and a break to long castle and just get a rook facing straight down that line if anything were to go, and he can't even just put me right in a check because of this knight. So we have a good thing going with this game. I think I feel much stronger about this game than I did last game. I believe he misunderstood my intentions. I think he misunderstood my intentions. Although that's true, he did it's not a bad positionally, it can't be a bad idea to just line up your bishop with the pawn and the king like this to make sure you're defended from this angle. But this was not my plan. We have a different plan, sir. My plan is to just push through the center. I have no care for what you're doing. We'll push through the center with no care. I'll take it. He's going to take it with the bishop here. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get this knight out of the way. No, that's probably not the best move here. I'll get it out of the way in this direction. That's the better move. Now all of my pawns are defended except this one that I just gave up in the center because it was an ill-advised decision. Now, I had a lot of time to make that decision. Of course, I chose the wrong move. He can take that pawn. He doesn't have a good check with the follow-up move there, so I'll just take a pawn myself. Certainly a hit, I would say. But we'll take that pawn right back here. And if he decides to, say, move this pawn up to target my knight, we'll just take the trade because I'll be immediately targeting his rook. So I think he's really forced at this point to just give me that pawn back, it seems like. And then we'll just be continuing into the endgame. I would have loved to, earlier in this game, have just traded all of our pieces back and forth. At this point, I have no pawn structure. This could be a terribly difficult game to come out with a win at this point. It's not looking good for me based on what's happening here. Sets the trap. Well, I'd love to look for a trap here. I tried to set up a few traps there, and they didn't come to fruition. At this point, and I only say that principally here, so what's really happening, of course, is that's a good avenue. That defends. That does defend. You've done a good job there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to march my... I can't get the fork, though. We can't get a fork. I can't let that happen. So we'll go ahead and we're just going to double up in this direction first. I can't let him fork me, so we can't move the king yet, necessarily. Nothing tells me how long I've been live. I have no way to tell how long I've been live. That can't be right. I am a mess. You know, I really need to get a producer. Jerry is a family. He can't just I need a full-time producer, I think. We're getting to that point. I'm at a loss. I can't even see. I'm sure a producer could tell me how long I've been live for, right? I don't know how people run these shows. Well, of course, not live, I guess. You know, I'm a big fan of preparing a show, but certainly it'd be nice to have somebody behind the scenes. Besides a busy Jerry. But things have been nice. It was nice going to that parade yesterday with him and his family. You know, I haven't done that in a minute, but it was a good time. Let's see, what is this person going to do? At this rate, I'm gonna beat him on time. What's even gonna happen here? It's tough to know what we're going to be doing here. We're just trying to march our pawns up, and we've done that. We have... You know, we have kind of an artistic side of the board here with our alternating, intermittent pawns, but I guess we'll find out exactly how this ends. I'm still staring at a couple of pawns that I'd love to Oh, this is an issue, isn't it? Well, that is disappointing. It's too bad. It's not what I was hoping for, but we'll take it, I suppose. So what were the subjects I wanted to cover? We talked about at the beginning of the show. Of course, I wanted to cover the win by Tubi. It was nice of him to talk about me, and I wish he would talk about the show, but we're not there yet. He hasn't even watched the show, which is fine. I look forward to him checking out the show. I think he'll enjoy it. And we talked about how we have a guest that I'm going to be recording with in the middle of this week, and that will be the episode that will come out in next week. Of course, the reality show we're working on, we're recording. We probably have the footage that we want, but we're planning on and working on what we see that episode to be. So, really looking forward to that. Don't worry, I'll win that pawn back too. We do have a little bit of an issue where we're falling behind, and I don't like that, but I'm happy to move my king forward. We're just going to start pushing. He'll take this one, and I'll take this one. And I'll be one pawn behind into this endgame, just looking to find something, some way of getting my king to the action here. I would trade bishops. I think I would at this point. I don't have any concern because he's just going to give me a good reason to move my king up. And I just want to keep that king moving up. At this point, we just need to be aggressive as possible. And you would imagine, you look at this rating, you say, you know, David Collins, I'm a rating 600, 700, I just can't break that. You're rating 1100, and you're on a 10-game losing streak. What's happening? I'd say I just haven't played in a good period of time, and that's why we're streaming today. We're trying to get back into the game so I can start winning games again. Wouldn't that be nice? The King's Road. You know, I would say that this is the King's Road, and it's occupied by rooks at this point. You know, look at this rook. He is holding this whole road. Although he's over here right now. I still think he's part owner. I don't like it. But we're kind of going to have to live with it. That's a good point, though. Actually, you may not be on the wrong track. I really should put this rook here. We have the opportunity. It'll be a big move. We could get this rook right here. We can do a lot with that. That was not the pawn that I expected him to take. Oh, it was. No, we talked about this. We were going to be trading rooks, and that we were going to be trading bishops, and that was what was going to allow me to move my king up even further. Uh-oh. I don't know if this is looking as good for him as he thought it was. At this point, he's traded off such essential pieces, and his rook is undefended. He has to make a move. Now we can assume the obvious move here is right here, but with my knight, he has quite a problem. Well, this is turning into quite an exciting game, it looks like. That's a move. That's a move. Richard Lewis. A mime is a terrible thing to waste. You know, it is terribly frustrating when somebody is so clearly ahead and had some sort of plan of attack, but still decides to take 55 seconds every move, you know? Do you have 10 moves left? Is this going to go to 50 moves? We'll have to wait and see. I could win this game just on time if we keep things going in this direction here. Right. Well, that's a bit of a risk. We didn't want that happening here. I actually believe that that's good for me here. Oh, you know we have a big problem though. We have a big problem though. So let's go ahead. He's blocked that pawn. He's blocked his vision with that pawn, so that's great. We actually might be able to look for some momentum here. So what I see here as the plan is we want to get our rooks lined up on the H file here. And if we can do that, then we can look for some confident checks. We can look for some confident checks. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think he may have just given me that opportunity. Why don't we take a quick look here? So he'll move his pawn down 1. I move it here. He moves his pawn here, and I check. From that check, I take the rook, and he can't promote yet because that will be immediately taken by my rook. So we are actually looking, even though we've been losing this game and we've just been fighting hard, we've marched our king forward, we have a good lineup here. We may actually have a way to look for some momentum, at the very least. That's an interesting move. I have no concept of what he could be looking for there. Let's wait and see. You know, based on our knight and our king here, he has nowhere that he can move to avoid me winning this rook. So he's going to have to play with these 4 pieces in order to avoid that situation. And I only have 1 move left before I can execute. Things are looking slightly up here. I'm not sure where he gets to go. Oh, you're completely correct. I don't even need to take that rook. It looks like that we can just we'll just stumble into mate in 2 if this guy's not careful. Oh, it is mate in 2. I don't know if he has anything he can do about it. I think I've won this game, everybody. I think we're looking at a winning game here. What is he going to do about it? He can't do anything. I think I've won this game. Now he can check me. He could certainly check me, but I'm just going to go after his rook. Then what? Then he can check me again. Which is a fair point. I will be checked. Could he check me again, but not without me taking his rook for free. So it looks like that we're actually looking at a win, everybody. We've stumbled upon a way to end this game with a success. So let's follow that out. Maybe he'll make a move, and I could just wrap this game up and wrap up the stream. Most importantly, I wanted to talk about this win by 2 gentleman who... That was a move. That was a move. But why don't you check this out, Kapotosia? It wasn't even about the rook. The real secret here was, oh no, my knight. You know, if my knight wasn't guarding this space right here, it wouldn't even matter. But this is checkmate. What a game. What a game. And who did we beat? Somebody from Nigeria. Thank you, Cappadocia. What a game. Well, we won. We won one. We lost one. All right. Well, I just wanted to kind of address, you know, what we already talked about today. And I did that. Win by 2, please reach out to me. If anybody's watching this, reach out to Win by 2. Say, I'd love to go on your show. And we can talk about whatever subject that you'd like to talk about. You know, of course, as long as it doesn't get in the way. You know, if you're doing a Sunday show, that's a very great time for me. I'm very open. You know, sometimes during the weekdays or even on the weekends, you know, we'll just have to plan ahead and talk about that. But I definitely look forward to talking to you in the future. All right. I just wanted to play a few games of chess. I thought that'd be a great way. We'd introduce another live stream and answer any questions that anybody had about the show. Make sure everybody knows reality show is coming out. A new episode of David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show should be coming out at the end of the next weekend at the latest here. We're working that out with the great comedian that we have coming on the show. But that's perfect. Everybody listening, I've been David